You are sitting at your desk. You have been sitting at your desk for 2 hours. In those 2 hours, you have opened your email 14 times without reading a single one. You have started 3 separate tasks and finished none of them. You have made coffee, forgotten it existed, and found it cold on the counter 40 minutes later. You have had 4 genuinely important thoughts, thoughts that mattered, thoughts you needed to remember, and every single one of them is gone, vanished between the moment they arrived and the moment you reached for something to write them down with. And the worst part, the part that TikTok will never show you, is that you knew the whole time exactly what you were supposed to be doing. You weren't confused. You weren't lazy. You weren't having a bad day. Your brain simply would not cooperate. That's not quirky. That's not a personality trait. That's not something that a planner and a color-coded calendar will fix. That is what ADHD actually feels like from the inside, and it looks nothing like what you've been seeing online. Over 52% of ADHD-related TikTok videos contain misinformation, the highest rate of any health condition on the platform. Which means right now, today, millions of people are building their entire understanding of ADHD from content that is more than half wrong. The TikTok version of ADHD is relatable, charming, a little chaotic, forgetting where you put your keys, getting distracted mid-sentence, loving hyperfocus on fun things, struggling with boring tasks. The real version is none of those things being occasional and quirky. The real version is all of those things being constant, compounding, and quietly, sometimes not so quietly, destroying the structures that hold a life together. Relationships, careers, finances, self-image. The basic daily architecture of functioning as an adult in a world that runs on consistency, planning, and follow-through. All of it becomes a negotiation with a brain that operates by completely different rules. This is what that actually looks like. You set 3 alarms, not because you sleep heavily, because you've learned, through years of evidence, that 1 alarm is something your brain can negotiate its way around without you ever fully waking up. 3 alarms creates enough disruption that eventually your body gives up and gets vertical. You've been doing this since university. You're 34. The morning is where the day's first losses happen. The thing you needed to take with you, the form, the letter, the item you put somewhere specific yesterday specifically so you wouldn't forget it, is not where you put it, or you can't remember where you put it, or you remember putting it somewhere specific, but specific has become approximate, and approximate has become anywhere in this flat. This has happened enough times that you've stopped feeling acute frustration about it. What replaced the frustration is worse, a dull, practiced resignation, a sense of yourself as someone who just doesn't quite manage to get things right, who is always slightly behind, always slightly less organized than the situation requires. The commute is where the second phase begins. ADHD brains are wired for novelty. The commute you've done 200 times registers as background noise, and your mind goes somewhere else entirely. Not daydreaming in a pleasant way. More like a browser with 40 tabs open, none of them loading properly, all of them demanding attention simultaneously. You arrive at work having thought, briefly, about 17 different things. You remember none of them clearly enough to do anything with them. Here is the thing about ADHD that productivity content completely fails to capture. It's not that you can't focus, it's that you cannot reliably choose what to focus on. On any given day, your brain will lock onto something interesting, something urgent, something that arrived with enough emotional charge to cut through the static. And when it locks on, it locks hard. This is hyperfocus, and for a few hours, you are more productive than most people around you. You move fast, you think clearly, you make connections nobody else has made. Then it ends. And the thing you were supposed to be doing, the deadline that existed before the interesting thing arrived, is still there, untouched, now closer and more urgent, and your brain has spent all its available engagement on something else. Studies consistently show that ADHD significantly impairs executive function, the set of mental skills that includes time management, organization, working memory, and the ability to regulate attention deliberately rather than reactively. Executive function is what allows you to do boring things because they're necessary. It's what lets you start a task before you feel like starting it. It's what reminds you that the deadline exists, even when nothing about the current moment is prompting you to think about it. Without reliable executive function, you're not lazy. You're running without a key piece of software that most people don't know they have because they've never had to live without it. Your colleagues know you as someone brilliant in meetings and unreliable on follow-through, someone full of ideas and vague on execution. They're not wrong, they're just describing the symptoms without knowing the diagnosis. The TikTok version of ADHD stops at the inconvenience. It doesn't talk about rejection-sensitive dysphoria. RSD is not in the official diagnostic criteria for ADHD, but it is present in the experience of a significant number of people who have it, an intense, immediate, and disproportionate emotional response to perceived rejection or criticism. Not a mild sting, a full-body emotional crash that arrives within seconds of a perceived slight and feels, in the moment, completely catastrophic. Your manager gives you critical feedback in a tone that's even slightly cooler than usual. A friend takes longer than normal to reply to a message. Someone in a meeting doesn't laugh at your contribution. For most people, these things register, are processed, and pass. For you, they land like something much larger than they are. And the shame that follows, not just about the specific incident, but about the response itself, about the knowledge that you felt this much about something this small, compounds it into something that can derail an entire afternoon. You've spent years thinking this was a character flaw, a weakness, a sign that you were fundamentally too sensitive for the world to be navigated safely. It's a neurological symptom. It has a name. Knowing that helps. It doesn't make it stop. The average age of ADHD diagnosis in adults is somewhere in the mid-30s, which means most people who have it spend their 20s, the decade where careers are built, where financial habits are formed, where relationship patterns are established, undiagnosed and unmedicated, and working 3 times as hard as everyone around them just to produce the same output. They build compensation strategies, meticulous lists that they forget to check, deadlines set artificially early to account for the inevitable delay, reminders stacked on reminders, an entire parallel system built around managing a brain that won't manage itself, and the system works imperfectly until it doesn't. And when it stops working, they blame themselves rather than the underlying reason the system was necessary in the first place. The diagnosis, when it arrives, is complicated. Relief, finally, a framework, an explanation, a reason why the thing that came easily to everyone else always required so much from you. And grief, for the years spent thinking you were lazy, for the career opportunities that slipped, for the relationships that frayed under the weight of forgotten things and missed commitments and emotional volatility that nobody, including you, had the language to explain. The medication helps for most people. It doesn't create focus. It creates the possibility of choosing where to focus, which is what everyone else has been doing automatically their entire lives. That gap is enormous. Jobs left or lost, not because of inability, but because of the mismatch between how ADHD brains work and how most workplaces are structured. Relationships stretched by the pattern of promising and forgetting, caring deeply and missing the evidence of it, being fully present in one moment and completely elsewhere in the next. Money. ADHD and financial difficulty have a documented relationship. Impulsive spending, forgotten bills, subscriptions running for months unnoticed, the financial equivalent of leaving the tap running, and the self-image cost, the accumulated weight of decades of being told, directly or through consequence, that you just need to try harder, be more organized, care more, apply yourself. You were trying. You were organized by the standards available to you. You cared enormously. You applied every resource you had. Your brain just needed something different, and nobody knew to look for it until the damage was already done. 10 p.m. You found the form. It was in the bag you always use, which was where you put it, which was exactly as specific as you remembered, and somehow still took 20 minutes to locate. You finished one of the 3 things you started this morning. The other 2 are tomorrow's problem. The coffee is cold again. Somewhere on TikTok tonight, someone is making a video about how they definitely have ADHD because they also find taxes boring and sometimes forget where they put their phone. It'll get 500,000 views and 1,000 comments saying, "OMG, this is literally me." And somewhere else, someone who actually has ADHD is watching it and feeling, for the 100th time, the specific loneliness of a condition that's everywhere in the conversation and still somehow nowhere near accurately described. This video is for them.